Hello and welcome to the Video Game Flashback Podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Video Game Flashback is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, but prefer you would use Spotify because this show is provided by Spotify for podcasters. So it would be really nice if you could do that. It would help the development of this show. Of course, no ads or anything yet, but eventually maybe we'll have a simple one at the beginning of each show. Very short type of thing. Other than that, again, it is a great pleasure to have you downloading and listening to the show. Just thank you so much. Great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. We're going to venture now into the Sega Master System for the first time. Mickey Mouse's Castle of Illusion for the Sega Master System. I originally started playing this game on Game Gear back in the day when my brother got a Game Gear circa 90, 91-ish, back in the good old early 90s, the beginning of the Game Gear and such, the very first color game system. Luckily, the Sega Master System version is just about the same. Some of the enemies are slightly different, and we'll discuss that later. This will kind of be a combination of the two, I guess you could say, because it's literally the same game, the same exact music. Game Gear sounds exactly like the Sega Master System, so I think that's really cool. The only problem with the Game Gear in the past is how, the screen would be kind of whitish, so you'd have to kind of angle it correctly. There'd be kind of like a white haze to the screen, depending on, again, the angle you have it pointed, this and that. So, but what a great color game system it was. It looked like a television, and that's why the TV tuner came out. But again, we're focusing on the Master System version, generally speaking. There'll be a later date. I'll be doing the Sega Genesis version, the Mega Drive, the Genesis version. It came out at the same time. So it all kind of came out at the same time. Just different designers kind of working together. And they're a different game. The music it's like the same music, but Genesis basically versus Sega Master System, chips, music and that. But the actual game themselves are definitely different. It's the levels, it's like, yes, it's the same concept. Like we're talking Clock Tower, the castle, the forest, this and that. So again, we will be doing a Sega Genesis version maybe later this summer. We'll see. We're going to be, as we go into summer, my schedule gets a little tougher. So we're going to be probably going into the more simple style of game reviews, not big projects, RPGs like I've been doing. So we'll probably get to that as we get closer to like Thanksgiving and Christmas and such. But maybe we'll see. We'll see where my mind takes me. But we're probably going to stick to action type of games now. Maybe the 1943 platforming games like, like this one, Super Mario Brothers, and so on and so forth. Nothing's easy, but at the same time, it is all very enjoyable to do. So thank you so much for listening. And we're going to talk about the developers and the history of the game at the end of the day. Apparently, so generally speaking, did they all come out on the same day? The information here that I have in front of me is a little bit, it's a little bit confusing at times. The 8-bit version, never mind. The 8-bit version was released in 1991 for the Master System and the Game Gear. It doesn't show the exact date, which is frustrating. That's on the Wikipedia. Officially, the Wikipedia version, that's where I'm citing it. Otherwise, the Sega Genesis version was released November 21st, 1990. So around that time, around like 89, 90, 91, you'd have games like this, a couple versions of certain games, including Sonic the Hedgehog, believe it or not, where they would release, the main version on the Sega Master System, and they'd have like you can call it downgraded version for the Sega Master System and Game Gear. For at least Sonic the Hedgehog and Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion. As far as I'm concerned, though, this is a freaking fun game. I arguably like it more than the Sega Master System or than the Sega Genesis version. Honestly, now at the end of the day, the Genesis version grew on me over the years, and I love that one also very, very much. It's harder in some ways, generally speaking. But this is the one that this is the original version that I ever really played, or should we say the Game Gear version officially. At the time, we were blown away by the introduction of the game, and we'll talk about that as we continue. How it kind of has a 3D look, where Mickey Mouse is looking on in the mountain area where the castle is, where the witch Miserabelle stole Minnie, pardon me, at the end of the day. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's a game that I enjoy very much. Again, the publisher was Sega, so this is officially from Sega. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. Directors Emiko Yamamoto, that's for the Mega Drive and Genesis. But Yoshida rolls right off your tongue for the Master System and Game Gear. Producers Stefan L. Butler. Designers Emiko Yamamoto. And again, that's like the Mega Drive version. As for the Master System, it looks like there's 3 of them. Tomozo Endo, Michael Koba, okay, Emiko Yamamoto. So he also helped with the Master System and Game Gear. Artists, for the Genesis version, might as well just say both. Takashi Yuda, Mikaren Nishida, and those are for the Mega Drive. For the Master System, Takako Kawaguchi, Gucci, yep, and then Kayuzo F for the Master System and Game Gear. Composers, probably for both systems and all that. Tukohiko Owabu and Shigenori Kamiya. So cool. Again, series Illusion. So it's actually a series, but the future games, I don't know. I didn't like them that much. It's like, the charm is gone. I'm sorry, it just is. Again, the Master System version was released in 1991. They don't even say the month, which is kind of sad and disappointing. An emulated version of Castle Illusion was included in a bundle of those who pre-ordered its remake on PSN. Yep, this bundle was offered for PlayStation Plus subscribers in April 2014 or 2014. Again, the 8-bit version, blah, 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 blah. So generally speaking, Mickey Mouse and Minnie are enjoying themselves, kind of, doing their thing. They're on their little date out in the outside, out in the woods or whatever the heck. And then the witch Miserabelle kidnaps Minnie. Mickey is like, uh-oh, and then chases after her, and then eventually gets to the Castle of Illusion, where he will have to figure out where the heck to go and what to do to eventually get to the witch Miserabelle and ultimately save Minnie Mouse. Mickey's main method of attack is to perform a bounce whilst jumping, or should we say while jumping. It must be British here or Australian. Which can be used to defeat enemies or to bounce upwards towards higher areas. And so you kind of, basically as you jump, you press the button. You press the other button. In the Game Gear version, you press the same button while you're in the air. In the Master System version, you press the other button. Like, say, you jump with the A and press B to bounce off the characters. That's one of the slight differences of the two. Also, you'll see monsters in the castle, which I'll talk about later, but I'll say it now as well. In the Game Gear version, they're monsters that don't die at the beginning of the castle. Again, much later in the game. They're ghosts. You bounce off of them, and they kind of stop moving for a while, and then they come back. In the Master System version, they're basically knights. So maybe it's like a ghost knight, like armor, kind of without anything inside of it. Walking around to hit you, and then you bounce off of it, and it goes down, and then eventually gets back up to fight you again. Kind of like a lot of characters in Castlevania. The characters in Super Mario World, the skeleton Koopas, basically, in Super Mario World, how they'll get up and come at you again, and such. Again, you bounce off enemies. That's kind of the main thing. You start off with the forest level, the mysterious forest level. Enchanted Forest is a better way to say it. Toyland. Again, the versions of the game are different. The music, it's the same song, but obviously, composed very differently from the Sega Genesis and the Master System version. But again, you start off with the Enchanted Forest, you go to Toyland, then you ultimately go... the one main difference would be there's the storm level in the Genesis. So this is probably the main difference between the two games, or at least there's a couple differences as well, but this is a huge one. In the Sega Genesis version, it's the storm level, basically a storm, and then you ultimately go into the storm drain to fight An interesting character there, to say the least. Totem pole looking character. That's like the word I was searching for as I'm talking here. But in the Master System and Game Gear version, it's Candyland. The Candyman Ken. It's the cutest thing ever. Interestingly, though, Candyland does show up in very brief form in the Genesis version. We'll get to that in a minute. But again, after you get through the Candyland, so to speak, then you go to the library, which is one of the funner levels in the game, I think, but it also can be very difficult. In the library version of Castle of Illusion for the Sega Genesis, there is a Candyland area inside a milk bottle. That's right, a milk bottle. It's like a little miniature Candyland area, and oh, it looks so tasty. So tasty. Yes, it does. If you have a sweet tooth, which I do on occasion, it looks really tasty. Watch out now. It'll damage your teeth, young boys and girls, and it'll raise your cholesterol potentially and give you all kinds of possibly diabetes to those of us that are adults, especially some of us that might need to trim a couple pounds, unfortunately, which is just about everybody on the planet, at least some people that might already be skinny and still think they need to trim pounds. But you have the library and then ultimately the castle. But before that, for sure in the Game Gear version, Game Gear and Master System version, there's the Clock Tower, which is one of the coolest songs in the game, and you'll be hearing all the music in the game like I do. I want you to enjoy all the different charms and effects of the game. There's the Clock Tower, and in the Genesis version, I got confused because, of course, again, I played the Game Gear version first, Game Gear / Master System version first. So you expect the clock tower, you go in and it looks like a castle, this and that, and it actually is the clock tower. And of course, when you're going in the door to enter the level, you can see gears and stuff, because it's like a hint of what you're going to be facing when you go in, like an enchanted forest, a library, Toyland, a storm drain, or whatever the heck. That's in the Genesis version. I'm like, that looks like the clock tower, but it's the castle, right? But no, it actually is the clock tower, but it has kind of a castle-like look because you're going up the clock tower, which is what it would be like. Say you're going up Big Ben in Britain, it probably has a castle-like look. And then once you get to the actual main part where the clock is and all the gears and stuff, then it becomes the clock tower level. So it's kind of like a larger version, and it's arguably the hardest part of the game. Sadly, in the Genesis version, you don't really have a castle level, so it's just kind of different. The clock tower is kind of like the last regular level, and then you go straight to the witch after you collect all the different gems, which you are to collect in order to get to the witch level, where the witch's chamber. Or in the Game Gear version, there's like two castles. The first castle has all the different levels in it, again, because once you get to the Castle of Illusion, you have to go through doors. So there's like the first level of doors, again, the Enchanted Forest, Toyland, and Candyland, so to speak. Then you get the ladder after you beat Candyland, and again, during the levels, you pick up gems, which eventually will form a rainbow, which you can walk across to get to, in the Game Gear version / Master System, to get to the real castle where the witch is. And in the the Genesis version, you literally get to the witch's chamber, which I guess is also the castle, but you don't actually play the level. In the Master System version, there's a level. So the clock tower is a shorter level, basically, in the Sega Master System / Game Gear version. Sorry if I'm twisting everything up and making it sound crazy, but it's just interesting, and we're going to kind of, in a lot of ways, talk about both games, but this one in particular will be the Master System version. I will probably have a briefer introduction in the Mega Drive version, or maybe not. It'll be similar, but maybe I won't be as twisty and wild as I am right now. But that's kind of the idea, to collect gems as you continue to beat every level. And certain levels have multiple gems, and you have to get them all, or you cannot get to the witch or castle, which ultimately leads to the witch, and depending on which version of the game you are playing. In the Candyland, there I believe, yes, Candyland in the Game Gear version / Master System version has two gems. One of them is kind of along the level, and there's also another gem in the clock tower in the Master System version. Again, we'll focus on that one for right now. I'm actually kind of forgetful where the extra gems are in the Genesis version, and we're not playing that right now, so it doesn't matter. We'll get back to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, or cross the rainbow when we get there, however you want to look at it. So in back-to-back games, we'll be crossing rainbows to get to the end of the game. What do you think of that? And in both cases, in this version of the game, you'll be crossing the rainbow to get to the final level of the game. Again, so there's no actual castle level, so to speak, in the Genesis version, though I guess it kind of sort of is a castle leading up to the clock tower, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah. So we'll also discuss the different monsters throughout the game. Lots of fun different characters like the soldiers that kind of walk around, like the ones you see at Christmas time every year, like the Nutcracker type soldiers and such. You'll see some Disney characters. It's a lot of fun. It's a very enjoyable game. Unfortunately, Disney's gotten a little weird over the years, but it is what it is. That's just kind of how it goes. But a lot of these older Disney games for Nintendo and Sega are very enjoyable, and they have a lot of sentimental value for myself. This one was never rented. It was only owned originally by my brother and then by myself later on with the Master System, and of course emulated on the NES Classic as well. Naughty, yes, I have to admit it, but well, I own multiple versions of the game, so I don't feel too bad. So the games were bought and paid for once upon a time, either from Funko Land or brand new from like a Target or something, or Best Buy, or Suncoast way back in the day as well, in Ridgedale Center, which is what we have here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. With that said, though, let's get ready to rescue Minnie from the witch Mizrabel and head into the Enchanted Forest. But of course, again, let's get started with the game in general first. And of course, upon beginning the game, you start seeing that the game came out in 1990, apparently. This is, again, the Sega Master System version. Once Upon a Mouse, Mickey and Minnie, image of them in basically having a picnic or dancing. Welcome to Ferris City, where life is joyful and everyone lives in peace. All but one, that is. One who is jealous of Minnie's beauty and popularity. The witch Mizrabel. Ooh. And she comes and kidnaps Minnie, who one day came on her broom and swept Minnie away. Mickey was taken by surprise. He did the only thing he could. He chased after the witch Mizrabel all the way to the Castle of Illusion. And again, like I mentioned earlier, a 3D effect look of Mickey looking at the castle off in the distance. In a way, kind of like Willow looking off at it in the Willow over Capcom. But anyhow, the Walt Disney Company and made by Sega. You push the start button, which is, I guess, the B button or something like that. Practice mode, it's just kind of like playing like a shorter version of like certain levels and stuff. Don't even bother. Just jump right into normal. And then you, like you heard a minute ago, you got to hear the castle sound. He says, the man says, you must find 7 gems of the rainbow. They will give you the power to overcome Mizrabel, but be careful, the gems are protected by the Masters of Illusion. Yes, and then he disappears like a ghost or whatever the heck. And into the Castle of Illusion we go. And like, again, you play that song over and over again. It's a very calming song. There are 3 doors. Always just kind of go in order. You can go out of order if you want, but I'm going to go in order. So basically the one on the far left will take us to the Enchanted Forest. Do enjoy. Ah, how quaint, the Enchanted Forest. Thankfully there is a pause button because there is a time limit. There is, believe it or not. But odds are you won't be needing it too bad. What do you think you see here? Trees and rocks and stuff. The first monsters you see are trees, and again, you jump with the A button, and when you're in the air, you press the B button to kind of like go like put your back basically downward or butt downward to kill the enemy, and you can open treasures like cake and stuff, which heal you up, kind of like in the Mickey Mouse Capade. Actually, you can heal with cake as well. All kinds of options. Of course, you can go down the stairs, get some items there, and that's always recommended. Nothing super crucial or anything, but you know, can power up, get healthier, so to speak. And then you'll run into barrels that you can actually walk on. You don't destroy the barrels, but you use them potentially to use as like kind of like a stepping stool to get be able to reach an area that's too high. So you jump off the barrel, you move it to the ledge or whatever it would be, to the area where you might need to get over because it's just too damn high. You can't jump over it simply. Also, though, if you do the little attack thingy in the air, occasionally treasure chests will appear, which you could also use to jump off of if you need to, and ultimately to get cake or whatever the heck the healing item might be. The barrel can also be used as a weapon when you throw it. It can hit enemies like bats and stuff. But yes, go get the treasures and all that. Again, there's a small piece of cake and then a larger piece of cake, which will heal you more so than the smaller one, I suppose. I do believe you fall through, yes. So that's kind of like a shortcut. I probably didn't even want to play it that way, but I did. I probably didn't want to do that. I haven't done that in many years, actually. So that's kind of funny and interesting. So basically, I took a shortcut by falling through the kind of the smaller area, so to speak. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to do that, but you can. It's good to get as many treasures as you can, especially the big coins, because your score can lead to extra lives. Every time you get to 10,000 points, you get an extra life. You'll also run into situations where there's like floating leaves with a snake or worm. I guess it's a worm on it. You have to hit the worm, and then you can ride the leaf. And if there's a stationary leaf, those collapse downwards. So again, you can't be on it for longer than a second or so. So definitely something to think about. It's a platforming game. It's challenging. Moving leaves, collapsing leaves, this and that. So you might make a mistake or two here and there, but generally speaking, it's not a very tough level. And then the first boss of the game is a big oak tree or whatever the heck. So as he's spinning around, avoid him, avoid him, avoid him. And then when he comes out, you can kind of do that jump attack on him. Jump and crowd, whatever they call it, pounce, I guess they call it, attack on him. Easy to die, though, this part of the game because, you only have 3 stars. So later in the game, you'll find more and more stars, like one in Toyland and one in the Clock Tower, which will get you to 5 stars. So, again, that's more hit points, more stamina, whatever you want to call it. So more to work with. After you beat that, you go into the middle door, which would then be Toyland. Woohoo! Ah, yes, Toyland. Quaint little level. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of fun. Of course, you get moving platforms again. Cute little, you're going to see Nutcracker-like guys. I believe they're in this version of the game, but yeah, they're not nearly as cool looking, so to speak, as they are in the Sega Genesis version, but I still love this game very much. You get the juggling clown. You want to throw the ball and knock him out. There's different ways to go. I would say go to the far left. Go up the far left ladder first. You notice little airplanes moving around in what look like a controller on a platform. Kill the controller, otherwise the planes just keep going forever. You can jump on the controller, well, jump and pounce, so to speak, or throw the blue ball at it. Throw the blue ball at it. It's much easier. You pick that up by, walking up to it and pressing the B button. You can kind of guess that on your own, I'm sure. But yes, kill the controller and the airplanes will both die. The little toy airplanes. Of course, again, like crawling all the way up, you'll eventually see a flashing red star. Guess what that is? You know what it is, don't you? Yeah, it's more stamina for you the rest of the game. So now you're, instead of 3, you have 4 stars. Which, again, like I said 12 times already, is more stamina. Good news. Now progress downward as before. The next thing you want to do now, it's like, because it would be a dead end, otherwise get rid of that juggling clown again. And you notice the choo-choo train is shooting smoke up. What do you think that smoke does? Well, when it gets bigger, you can stand on it. Now, in order to get there, you have to throw the barrel down behind the choo-choo train, about in the beneath the area where the smoke starts to get wider. Jump up, get on the smoke, and then you get up to the next platform. Wahoo! I think you'll see this monster once or twice in the next area. It looks like a, looks like twice at least. A chest knight. Interesting. Yeah, another use for the barrel, because you notice there's a switch on the ground for a door that you can't get through. So you put the barrel down on the switch. Easy peasy thinking process there. Yeah, it just went up. Now in the next area, you'll get these poison bubbles or whatever they are. Well, the bubbles damage you one way or another. They're not the little cute ones you get at Target or Walmart or Woolworths or wherever the heck you might go. Pick up the barrel, kind of work your way around, and you can throw it in front of the area where the bubbles are. And now I lost it. I think I got a feeling I need it coming up, but oh yeah, there's another one of those long, tall platforms. So that's another use for the major use for the barrels. If you see one, odds are there's going to be an area where you're going to need it. Unfortunately, these obnoxious bubbles keep coming and coming and coming. The barrel can kill them, however, but your jump on them will not. So don't even try. It's kind of like a Mega Man effect here with the bubbles and jumping up the tall platform. But thankfully, there's a small piece of cake that'll heal you eventually. Now, I know there's something coming up here very shortly, and that's why I sound like I'm anticipating something. And apparently it hasn't. We're not that far in the game yet. Watch out for the celebrity-looking guys that when they bow down, all this debris comes down and can damage you. So that's kind of weird. When you get down the ladder there, you want to go to the right first to get some treasure chests. Obviously, I mean, probably valuable to get a big cake and a big coin. So that can lead to extra guides with the coin. And, of course, the cake can heal you at least 2 stars worth. So on and so forth. All kinds of little tricks. So instead of sliding down, go on the third platform. Go on the platform to the left as you're sliding down. Well, I messed it up anyway. Because I fell through an invisible floor that I knew was there and I forgot. So, that's, yep. Otherwise, you're just kind of stuck in a dead end. So, you have to go that way. Or you're not going to progress the levels. That's simple. You can use the sliding effect, which is kind of fun when you're in the pounce form. Now I'm having trouble getting over the frickin' invisible floor. That's really annoying. I didn't have these kind of problems before. Kind of rusty. And again, the invisible floor, or whatever, or the false floor, it's the 2 squares kind of near the middle, basically. You can say try to avoid them. Unfortunately, it's a weird number. So it's the 2... It's like it's the 3rd and 4th squares from the left, basically, that are, the bad ones, basically. There's nothing there. It's just an illusion. What do you expect, though? It's the castle of illusion, right? So, fairly linear for a little bit. Now, again, I recommend going right. These kite-looking blue or green things, you can pounce on them and bounce upward, and that's useful for your progress. Going to the right, I believe there's an extra guy. Yes, there is, and a big coin. So, great. I wasted the thing, but that's okay. Again, the green kite-like type things help you more than hurt you. Generally speaking, you can bounce off them to kind of progress. Take your time. They're, so I don't think you want to go all the way to the top of the screen. I think there's a lot of games you end up dying if you do that, so don't even tempt your fate. You get the weird-looking spring when you hit the ball. It's kind of like a jack-out-of-the-box type of deal. What you do is... wait for when it's starting to kind of go upward, then jump. You'll have like a super jump effect, which is always a good thing. And you can get to the next area much quicker that way. As you get up, you want a key, and that's what you get. So I'm actually getting you the key before I even get to the door that needs it by going upward. But of course, pick up the treasure first, a big cake, and then we will fight a jack-in-the-box, basically. You can kind of guess what you need to do. Basically, just take your time and jump on his head, basically, with your pounce effect. and try your best to survive. And I did. There's no real great strategy to him. Just jump on his head. That's about it. Not literally jump on his head, but pounce on his head. The Jack in the Box clown character. And then you move on and all that cool stuff. Yeah. Now we at least have 2 gems so far. And now here we are, the 3rd door. So as I kind of jump into the dessert factory, everything's moving right out of the gate. Again, hopefully you're a veteran enough gamer to think things over. Just kind of wait for the platform, get the extra guy below, which is in the treasure chest. This is a very tasty looking level. You get like chocolate chip looking characters. The bricks look like basically something out of a, maybe not a Hershey bar, but something similar to it. Trying to think like a caramello or something like that, but it's chocolate, and you get cute little cupcakes. This is a board that could cause diabetes, so be careful. Try to keep your blood sugar level down, and I'm not trying to make light of people with diabetes. I'm just saying this level just reeks of diabetes, doesn't it? Moving cupcakes and this and that, and you need to duck, and I just threw a treasure chest into the pit. That was real smart. So again, the little candy you can jump on. They will die, but you can use them to kind of save you, the little green candies and such. But quite an enjoyable level, quite honestly, for the most part. There's challenging parts to it. And like the little characters, you know they're there, and you still get hit by them. It's just so annoying. The donuts you can't damage. It's just like the big giant apple in the forest that I actually avoided accidentally. I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, I say avoid the shortcut. It's more entertaining to play through the full level. I'm kind of mad at myself for doing that. Now we're down in like a chocolatey looking or milky looking area. You can swim in the milk. You will not die, but if you sink, then you'll die. So stay above by kind of pressing the button and such. Yeah, it's that simple. So that's the good news. You won't die if you fall in the milk, and it won't damage you either. But if characters hit you, you will be damaged. No kidding, right? Well, are you surprised? I mean, geez, it's supposed to be like fun, easy, and stuff, but there's challenges to this level, no doubt about that. But still a very entertaining game, nonetheless. Once again, when you see another barrel, use it to your advantage to get up to the ladder that you wouldn't be able to reach, because there's all kinds of wonderful goodies up here. This is serious stuff. The cake that you probably need after getting hit multiple times. I bet those chocolate chips coming out of the dispenser. And if you jump around a little bit in the center of the little room that you've just got to, there's a treasure chest that'll fall down that'll have an extra guy. Again, it's like a Mickey ears, basically. That's extra guy, basically. So, and then you can use the barrel to your advantage to kill chocolate chips along the way. Barrel versus chocolate chip, I would hope a barrel would win, but who knows? I didn't make the video, I didn't make the game and make the rules, but who knows? Hopefully you end up emerging victorious, and odds are you probably will. And honestly, I'm sorry for mumbling so dang much. I feel like I've been mumbling the last couple boards here. Now you get to the candy bar. I don't know what candy bar it is. Looks like it could be a symphony bar, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? It's a chocolate bar. You pick up the block in the middle that looks different, and you throw it at the chocolate bar. When it forms again and the face comes and all that, you avoid the items that come down when he punches the wall. It's all kind of simple, but he's an annoying monster a bit. He's kind of almost like, in a lot of ways, like the rock monster in Mega Man. But whichever edge you're closest to, and you can avoid those blocks coming towards you, go that way, because obviously they're going to hurt you. So there is kind of a strategy to it. If you can, pick up the block as quick as you can and just move out of the way when the blocks come down. And then avoid, if you move fast enough, you'll avoid the candy bar doing its movement piece by piece by piece by piece from left to right or right to left. so on and so forth, and you'll eventually progress and defeat the bad guy, which is a big giant candy bar. Odds are, though, it'll take a try or two, and luckily your tries are hopefully probably built up if you're, paying attention and getting all kinds of extra guys and coins and such along the way, because you will gain lives frequently in this game, but it's a matter of more or less how many times you die, more than amounts of tries, because they are fairly generous in this game. What I've always got a kick out of in this game and in the Sega Genesis version is how Mickey, no matter what the situation is, he's always smiling, except when he actually gets hit or dies. He's always smiling like, oh, come on, little candy bar, everything's going to be fine. Everything's fine. I'm jolly old Mickey Mouse, It's just funny. This candy bar monster wants to kill you, and boy, does he want to. And he's got the angriest look on his face. And Mickey's just smiling away and blinking his eyes all happily. It's so cute. And once you finally do beat him, the candy bar kind of falls apart. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know who he's similar to, but another gem comes down. This one's a lemon-colored one. So, like lemon candy or something. You beat the dessert factory. I don't know why I keep calling it desert, but dessert factory. And then you move on forward. As now all three of these doors are done, a ladder appears. You climb up the ladder. It's all just common sense stuff. Like, gee, why is a ladder there? I don't know. And then, of course, again, try to go from left to right. That's what I would do. And you get to start being a smarter character at the University of Mickey Mouse in the library. Yes. Ah, yes, one of the more interesting levels in the game, and certainly one of the best soundtracks as well. You get the cool-looking measure, like rulers and all that kind of stuff in the background. I like it. You get the books, you get A's. You can imagine saying die, you bleep an A, or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, messing around. And when you hit the A's, they split into a bunch of little ones, which is cute and everything. Honestly, every one of these games is, every one of these levels is fairly interesting. Oftentimes I forget you gotta change the button. In this one, the Game Gear version looks exactly like this. You can just press the A button twice, where in this one you press A and then B, or B and then A, however it works with the Sega Master System controller. Otherwise, if you have it put on your, device, feel good as well. Your NES Mini. There's multiple ways to go. I usually tend to go all the way to the end and then walk up and all that. There's buttons now as well. Those you can stand on, but you don't pick them up and set them back down. So that's another kind of item. That's like a throwing item, you could say, on this level. Sorry if I'm too far from the mic. But you run into little, I guess they're bookworms, right? And those annoying planes. But in this level, the planes die, but then they keep respawning and coming at you when you're walking through a little narrow corridor, so to speak, in between books and like a ceiling or cabinet roof or whatever the heck it is. Not roof, but cabinet ceiling and such. Yeah. You run into one issue after another as you progress through the level, but eventually you get further and further. You just kind of like work your way around, basically, is what you have to do. And then you run into what looks like a teacup. You step on the spoon, and then the piece of sugar kind of bounces up and kind of flips you up. Another level, you want to go into the teacup. I used to always imagine, was this coffee? Was this hot chocolate? No, it's tea. So those little those little squares that are kind of like smiling and frowning as they're bobbing up and down are Lumps of sugar, if you please. There's also a 1-up in this place. But you have to go through this little mini stage to go through the rest of the level. It's pretty easy, so nothing really major to complain about. I believe this is right. Yeah. So try to explore everything you can so you don't miss out on potential goodies, so to speak, and important items. There's also the annoying factor where if you pick up an item and, you know, and you can't reach it, you can just walk off the screen or go below with the ladder and work your way back down. So there has to be, the item has to be kind of at least one level below. If it's 2 levels below, you can't pick it up. 2 levels below, so to speak, the other item, so to speak, if that kind of makes sense. So that's always an annoyance. So as we can regress through, pardon me, I don't know what I'm staring at here. Very distracting. Moving devices like little bees carrying like platforms and such. Looks like a honey toast or something. That's cute. The little tiny A's are almost impossible to hit, so don't even bleep with them. It's not worth it. There's no doubt about that. Forget if there's a false wall in this level, but I don't think there is. Ah, yes, and then this is one of the first instances where you run into a gem. You run into a gem all by itself. It's like, oh, look at this green emerald-looking thing. Yeah, so quite interesting as you're wandering around. You'll end up running into that. I thought there's an... Yeah, then the other one that pops up will be in the clock tower level. So you kind of get all the... You get like 2 gems per level in these 2 levels. You get to the musical measure walking on the piano, which is quite interesting. As you walk up, it actually goes from the lowest note to the highest note, which is kind of cool. But also notes on the back in the background, some of them come down to hit you. So be ready for that annoyance and nuisance popping up. So suffice to say, watch your step when you're walking by notes. Don't walk too fast. Be patient. Wait for them to come down and then, you know, jump on them, whatever the heck the word is. It's annoying as hell, but what are you gonna do? It's the only way to beat the level, dang it. So you gotta persevere. Also, after you're done with the notes, I recommend you pick up the little barrel and jump down below you, because you're gonna want that barrel to get over. Well, first of all, to hit the A, the bleeping A, and then jump over the. Well, yeah, to like get on it, walk, step on the barrel and jump over the next ledge to get to the left. I keep swearing there's a false wall coming up. Yeah, nope. I'm getting it mixed up with something else, I think. Like Zelda 2, which is the game we just reviewed not too long ago, in fact. So, I enjoyed reviewing that one so much. Obviously, Dragon Warrior, just the most recently, and all of that. There's no crucial treasure you need, though. It's nice to get 1-ups. It's nice to get, obviously the gem is in plain... it's pretty much in broad daylight, so if you see some green gem as you're walking up the ladder, climbing up the ladder, go for it. Okay, this is where you get the false wall, when it's nothing but wall as you're climbing down the ladder. Kind of around the middle or so, kind of jump down and push yourself to the left, and guess what? A false wall, a la Zelda 2. There's a big coin which can potentially lead to an extra guy if you're getting to another multiple of 10,000s. In this case, no, but there is an extra guy as well, or extra try. Now you get the book. That's the boss here. You jump on the letters that he shoots out, or yeah, you bounce off of the letters that he shoots out, and then of course land on his head or whatever, so to speak. And you have to be up there. If you're on the edge, you're gonna get hurt, and that's bad. So it's just kind of a rhythm thing. Patience, bounce, and work yourself over him. He's really not that hard. Once you get in kind of a rhythm, it's not hard at all. In fact, I might even beat him without getting hit, and I did. All right. And another green gem. Okay, so maybe one was watermelon and one was lime, or some kind of tropical. Yeah, I'm starting to think of like the Mike and Ike's tropical candies. Yummy, hey. So now we get to what I think is the most interesting level in the game, if not the second. If not, it's at least the second. The clock tower. Oh, I love this level. I love the music. It's a little challenging, but what do you expect? It's supposed to be. So you have like moving platforms and such that are kind of like screws. Some impede your progress, some help your progress. Just kind of know what you're doing and all of that. And you get this weird looking, I don't know what the heck it is. If it's like nuts and bolts coming at you, you bounce off of those things. It's like a green and white thing. You can bounce off the top and gradually wait until they move. You'll also notice as you climb up the first platform or into the next level, so to speak, up the ladder, there's a purple gem. Nice grape-flavored Mike and Ike up there. Well, no, it's not a Mike and Ike, but a Jolly Rancher or anything like that. But it's, it's waiting for you. You can't get it yet. So just kind of progress through the level, and you'll wind up with it. All the clocks read out about approximately, looks like 2:58 in the morning, because it's not the afternoon, it's nighttime, as you can see in the background. You run into these annoying little things. And then you get the really cool, I forget what they even call that damn thing. And it's exactly what I thought. It's like, I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, the pendulum. So it's a pendulum. You get to use that to kind of swing from left to right, right to left, depending on where you're going. But generally, well, in the first one you see it is left to right to left, pardon me. Again, the clock stays, unfortunately, at 2:58 a.m., as you'll notice the stars in the sky in the background. This must be Big Ben. It's the only explanation I can come up with. The clock tower. It's Big Ben. It is. We're in Britain, laddie. We're in Britain, laddie. Big Ben. Yes. Sorry. So here's a place where you have an option to keep going to the right or going up the ladder. Keep going to the right, because what do you think might be? What do you think we might be heading towards? Let's see. There was a purple gem on a ledge that you couldn't reach before. So we went up and around, right? Does it make sense? Also, you notice a flashing star. That's right. Before you even get to the purple gem, after you drop down a little bit, guess what? Now you have 5 stars. You're a 5-star rating type of guy or gal, depending on what you are. And of course, there's your purple gem. Unfortunately, you get to do this little small section again, which wasn't that hard anyway. Who cares? It's annoying a little bit with these stupid, pieces of the clock type of things moving up and down. But it is what it is. The pendulum, you have to time it right. You want it to kind of be coming towards you as you jump, because if you try to jump with it, it's moving as fast as you are. And what do you think happens when that happens? You're dead, buddy. So yes, now we'll go up rather than to the continuously to the right. You get moving platforms, like I didn't officially mention before. They're beautiful. They actually look a little different than they did in the Game Gear version. So that's another minor change between the two games. Some of the characters are different. A screw. This is the throwing object. Well, actually, I believe you can. No, this one you can't stand on it. You can. You only can throw it. At least this one in particular, you're going to need it to get past the stupid bolt or whatever the hell that thing is. Like gear, basically, is what it really is. And all that, and then work your way up, time everything correctly with the moving platforms and such, and all that. Cool background, great music, and yes, patience with these moving platforms. You want to time everything correctly, and that's how you beat the level, honestly. Did I say patience? Yeah, because you could lose a lot of lives here if you're not. So yes, be very patient with your jumps. Try to time everything properly again. And if you're an old school gamer, you probably have a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. If you're a new school gamer and you're used to 3Ds and 3D first-person shooters, well, okay, good for you, I guess. Not sure why that is, but okay, I'm sorry, I had to say that. You get interesting. One of the more interesting monsters here is a smaller clock with little like doves coming out of it, or pigeons probably. Ugh, that's an awful memory from an apartment I used to live in Brooklyn Park. Disgusting. I'll leave it at that. I mean, the pigeons they're not clean birds. They're disgusting. And they don't go away. Ever. Generation upon generation, they keep coming back and haunting your place. I'm not kidding. So now you get to the big clock at the last boss here. Is it Big Ben, the boss of the level anyway. This one's interesting. Just kind of gently jump. Don't kill the gears, because they'll just keep coming back from the clock face. So what you want to do is kind of jump over them, time your jumps, wait. And when the clock is about 2/3 of a screen away from you, he'll start blinking. That's when he's going to dive towards you. Then you wait patiently and bounce off of him with your pounce type of attack. I've successfully hit him 3 times already without being hit from him anyway. I've got hit by the stupid gear once. But yes, don't kill the gears because they'll just come back down and the pattern will be different. So don't change the pattern. No, there's no point in that. It actually gets harder. It actually does, because then they're closer together and you can't time your jumps as well. Otherwise, you get a dark blueberry type of gem coming down, midnight blueberry color gem. And now you get to climb up the ladder because that door, the next door has been closed, so to speak. Climb up the ladder, and then we get to see, a la Dragon Warrior 1, just like Dragon Warrior 1, which we just talked about, a rainbow gets formed from the gems, all the different colors of the color spectrum. I guess there was a light and a dark green. Cool. A rainbow forms, you walk across the rainbow and walk into the real castle now, the witch's castle. Listen to the song of the rainbow first. And after you hear the song of the rainbow, like I said, you get to the witch's castle and you're going to enter the gate. Ooh, that effect is really cool as the gate slowly creeps up as you're going to go into the witch's castle. The real castle now. It's for real. Now you get to hear one of the coolest songs in the game, and again, one of the most interesting levels in the entire game. As I said 50 times already, Witch Miserabel's Castle. Here we go, the true final level of the game. And one of the best soundtracks in the game, if not the best. This soundtrack, for whatever reason, it just reminds me of, I don't know, like like late June, mid to late June, like when there's like massive sunlight. I don't know, like it's just, let's just say it's an old, really old, early childhood memory that I had of, I don't know, just kind of like, wow, there's sunlight this late in the day. It's like 8:30 and the sun is still shining into the house, into the building or whatever the situation was. It was pretty cool. And this song triggered that memory the first time I listened to it, and it has ever since. I'm not sure why. It's some kind of calmness to it, I guess. It's very different for a final level. It's just kind of calming. I don't know. But in the Game Gear version, the first thing you see is a ghost when you're walking in, and you pounce on it, it kind of flattens and then comes back up again after a few seconds. In the Sega Master System version, it's a soldier in like a golden armor type of thing that does the exact same thing. Either way, it's basically a ghost, because, yeah, the soldier never dies. It tends to get up really quickly. And then there's thwomps a la like Super Mario Brothers that you kind of trigger the same way. So it feels like they're almost more aggressive than Super Mario Brothers. You get spiders that come down from the ceiling. They're annoying as heck. Another obnoxious situation where you have to have the little barrel, otherwise you can't get above the little bricks, that type of thing. Yep, it's a fairly complicated level without being that complicated. Just kind of do what you've been doing in a lot of ways. Another new component is the best way to describe it that you'll be running into in both the Game Gear and the Genesis version is the lantern. So it's another item you can pick up. You could use it as a weapon by throwing it and hitting things, but you'll come into a dark area when you first climb up the ladder. You pick up the lantern, suddenly the room is lit up. You set the lantern down, the room goes dark. So yeah, look at it that way. You have to carry the lantern if you want to see where the heck you're going. So it's kind of cute. Occasionally you'll run into a second lantern. You can also use them as a stepping stool as well. Just like, and for some reason it stays light in this case, so that's real interesting. You also have a mimic treasure chest, you can call it. So kind of like in other games where the treasure chest wakes up and just starts attacking you. It's an enemy. It's not a friend. So, and oftentimes you might have low power and you end up dying because of it, which sounds like a lot of fun. The best way to kind of get to that thing is just kind of throw the lantern in its general direction, and hopefully it'll bounce right into it and kill the mimic before it can even start lunging at you. It's like, yeah, you basically get a head start on it, or a pincer attack, or whatever the heck you want to call it, a sneak attack, and take him out before he can attack you. Kind of like Washington did to the British in Trenton, New Jersey in Christmas, well, something like that. Maybe not quite as crucial, but we'll continue from there. Yeah, do not touch that poopy looking stuff. I guess it's acid, Kind of like in the Genesis version, it's much more clearly acid. It's green with bubbles coming out. Doesn't look real inviting. So, yeah, in this version, it looks like crap. I don't know, sewage, but it is acid. So do not touch it. It will hurt you. Wonderful, right? First thing you want to do is go up the first ladder when you're around the acid area, so to speak, and get up and get the key. Because, well, if you don't have a key, you're going to be pissed off when you get to a locked door. So what do? You get the key. You go back down and kind of work your way to the left as always. Unfortunately, you get hit, and guess what? The key disappears if it goes off screen, so that's always extremely fun. Makes you feel very, very happy on the inside, so you got to go all the way back to the little area that's not too far away and get the key again. And yes, be careful for the stupid platform that falls apart, because you might end up start losing lives like crazy because you keep losing the key, you keep falling off, and the stupid spider gets to you. But God willing, you get up above. The best part is, though, you get up above to that next area after unlocking the door, and there's another mimic treasure. Imagine you only have 1 star left. Yeah, that kind of situation. So be careful. It's another frickin' mimic treasure chest. It's just, you're hoping it might have a cake in it. Wouldn't that be great? No, it's a mimic treasure chest. Bastards.
What assholes.
What really sucks is is when you do die, say in these parts of the level, you end up going all the way back to the very beginning of the level. I mean, the beginning. It is absolutely great. Yeah, that's just one thing to make note of. Do your best and leave the rest. 'Twill all come right someday or night. Another thing to mention, if you, like, say, unlock the door and die, it stays unlocked, so you don't have to get the key again. That's another good thing, I guess, but dying sucks, so yeah, I'd rather not have to, use that luxury. As for where I got that little poem I just read you, or not read, but quoted, Black Beauty, of course, the cartoon. Ever heard of it? The Black Beauty, the cartoon? It's awesome. Another key thing is you'll notice you can kind of pounce down to a chest as you finally get through that stupid area going back to the right, so to speak. Do not jump on the upper area where there's like two little stones. Jump on the stone, or the stone that you can disappear. That's a little lower. That way you can get back out. Otherwise, guess what you get to do? Go all the way back through that stupid acid part again. You don't want to do that. It's a huge waste of freaking time. And you might die again. Yeah, just don't. It's really dumb. Another thing, similar situation with the key coming up. That's interesting. You have to get the key again. So, again, go down the specific area. Yeah, go down the little stone. Get the other stones out of the way, so to speak. Go to the ones on the left area, but not the upper, the lower. Make the jump over as best you can, and hope for the best. Okay, now I'm not handling this properly at all. I actually made it harder on myself, which is really stupid. No, you want to go to the right stones, not the left. Yeah, great guide I am, aren't I? And of course the mimic chest is there. It'll get you every time if you're not ready for it. So be ready for it. So yes, you use the same key twice because it respawns. That's basically another interesting theme here. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. But you can make that jump. Not the upper, the really high one. Do the lower jump as you can in the right area, so to speak, if trying to get my drift. Unfortunately, this is not a YouTube video. But yeah, you open the key, then you actually go in an actual brown door. And now you get a scrolling screen and a new song. Listen. It's a cool song. It's kind of haunting and scary and spooky, but isn't it like the last thing you want in a stressful part of the game like this? You could really lose a lot of guys here, a lot of lives. You could lose 5 or 6 lives here really easily, even if you're a pro, because you just might misstep. You got to time everything correctly, like the little ghosts. You got to bounce off them 1, 2, 3, that type of stuff, and time everything perfectly. It's not easy. It looks easy, but it's not. Maybe for some of you it will be. You got to duck down and wait for the screen to, like scroll. It's annoying. And you got to just be on your toes, have enough vision in front of you so you don't go too fast, but you also cannot afford to go too slow because you will run out of space and you'll run out of, you'll, if you go too slow, you're not going to make the jump you need to. The ghost will be too far to the left of the screen, so to speak, for your jumping. You also got little horse. I guess those are what do they call those? Horse fish? I can't remember what the heck they call those stupid animals. Well, cute little animals, I guess. Just a bad memory for me again. I'll leave that one exactly where it is. Oh boy. Yep. Sorry, I'm concentrating here and trying not to fall off the little narrow ledge. That might be one of the hardest parts in the entire game. Absolutely. Now you're nearing the absolute end of the game. I was hoping to fall down. Of course, the god darn thing doesn't let me in. I could have got a piece of cake, but guess not. Because I'm stupid again. I don't know why that doesn't count. Oh, I got it. All right. I'm not stupid. I'm a legendary gamer, right? So you go in the brown door. Things kind of calm down again. You're back to, you're back to just playing the castle again, so to speak. And, yep, another night and all that good stuff. Climb up the ladder, blah, blah, blah. I'm probably being over descriptive at this stage. What you want to do is head towards the right rather than the left. Get the little treasures, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to spend too much time here. Go down the second ladder from the left, so to speak, the one that doesn't have a stone in the way, or whatever the heck those are. Go down in there, and now you get to deal with the whole lantern and thromp stage type of stuff again. Be careful, take your time, but at the same time be smart. Use the lantern as a stepping stone type of deal. You're getting very close to the end of the game. So, yep, you jump on the lantern up to break the little breakable stone thingy. Go up. There's another frickin' mimic treasure chest that would really throw you off. You kill him with the lantern without throwing it too hard because you're going to need the lantern as a stepping stone to go up the ladder. Climbity, climbity, climb. You can get the treasure chest, but do you really need to at this stage? What the heck? Let's see what it is. Okay, a piece of cake, yeah. But you end up falling off and wasting time. That was worth it. Okay, see, I remember that not being worth it because it really isn't. Then you end up pretty much killing yourself because you can't see where the heck you're going. So, yeah, forget about the treasure chest. It's not worth it, especially considering it's a small piece of cake. It's not a big one, so don't even waste your time. I knew better, and I did it anyway. I just, it's good. I swear, it's because I'm doing a review. I want to see, let's see what that really is. Let's see what it is. I maybe touched it like 20 years ago or something, and then was like, oh, I'm never doing that again. Well, until I do a podcast about the game, whatever podcasts were in 1990, whatever. So 20, 30 years ago probably was when I first figured that out. So that's the whole fun of it. Again, when you go down to try to kill the mimic, do not push the forward arrow when you're throwing the lantern. Just push the button and you won't throw it as hard. Avoid the ghosts as you're climbing the stinking ladder. Wait for them to kind of go and come back, so to speak. Keep climbing back up, and you are nearing closer and closer to the finale of the finale. Now you get to the three set of doors. Go in the middle. Go in the middle, ladies and gentlemen. And now you get a very dramatic and spooky song because you're about to fight a dragon. But first, make sure you jump through the little... Yeah, you just kind of hack your way through the stones. You'll eventually fall through and battle the dragon and have the most intense song in the entire game. When you hear this song, and when I first got here, I figured this has to be the witch Miserable turned into a dragon. How is this not the final stage music, the final boss music? How is it not? It isn't. It's intense. It's really good. For 8-bit, it sounds freaking awesome, and the graphics on the dragon are pretty good too, actually. So it's spoiler alert. It's the second last boss in the game. It is a dragon. It has nothing to do with the witch, other than maybe magic from the witch. But, yeah, I guess it's a guardian, basically, to get to the witch. Too bad, because the music is awesome. Anyhow, how you beat this guy, or gal, or whatever the heck it is, how you beat they, I guess, as some people might want to tell you. Try to trick the dragon to spit its projectiles. I guess it's fire, even though it doesn't look like it. Kind of downward, so to speak, when you're picking up the barrel. Try to, again, just work your way to make it spit the projectiles downward while you're trying to go, or to the right, so to speak, when you're trying to go to the left, jump on the ledge, and then throw that barrel at its head. Of course, I handled that perfectly terrible, but again, that's what you do. Try to make it blow the stuff down, fire away. You still might end up getting hit because your timing might be off. Imagine that. Because you're trying to do a podcast instead of beat the dragon. If I remember correctly, it takes 6 total hits to defeat the dragon. So far I'm at 2, which is wonderful, but I'm just kind of lounging, taking my time here. I really shouldn't be doing that. It'd be a lot easier if I could pay attention. It's mostly, though, as long as you move quickly, get the dragon to kind of fire downward. The projectiles are kind of slow, so you just kind of have to get it to do it twice sometimes, and then just boom. And then just throw the barrel and run away as fast as you can, that type of deal. So it's really a fairly simple concept, but back in the day when we first played this, it was freaking hard and intimidating. But the dragon is defeated, which is wonderful. You do not get your power fully restored. You get a cake that restores 1. I remember that being 2, but okay. So I only have 3 stars to take on the witch. I'm probably going to lose the first time. This time it's a lantern you fight because it gets dark. You can kind of guess how to beat the witch. Again, just kind of, obviously you hit her with the lantern. I've already hit her twice, which is incredible. And the little projectiles can die as well. Sometimes it's good to keep them around because the pattern is simpler. The pattern might get more complicated and obnoxious. Like if they're kind of parallel to each other, it's really annoying actually to deal with. But again, she's been hit 3 times already now, 4. See if I can pull off something. I killed her, but I died at the same time. So that freaking sucks, and it doesn't count. If you die at the same time, you lose. So I got to do it again. Quite an incredible fight, though, considering I had 1 star, or 3 stars to deal with. The other lame part is you go back to the regular boss music. Really? But okay, you get to listen to it again. Yay. Honestly, the best way to beat her is to be super aggressive as long as you're not running into her as you're throwing the lantern. That's the whole key, and try not to hit the projectiles because when they first come out, they're actually easiest. The more complicated the pattern gets, it's annoying, especially the more parallel they get, actually. I don't know why that didn't count as a hit, but oh my god. So this is a very frustrating battle. As easy as it looks, it's annoying. It's insanely annoying, and it can make you scream your head off. You think you got her, and then you didn't, that type of thing. But I'm getting close, I think. Yes, I am. Queen Miserable is kaput, and now she does her impression of Dr. Wily, just like in Mega Man 2. Oh, please forgive me. Please forgive me. It's not quite as dramatic as in the Genesis version. You never see her again. So we'll talk about the Genesis version when we need to. Minnie kisses Mickey, and you see what look like movie clips, like movie film, like animated film, scrolling upward. And you get the credits and enjoy the ending music, my friends. it's a very enjoyable and victorious little song as the game just kind of gradually wraps up. The song ends, and you go right back to the introduction and all that, and there it is. So that's Mickey. That's Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse, Sega Master System version, which will always have a special place in my heart. Absolutely. Again, starting with the Game Gear version, but when I realized there's a Master System version, I'm like, this one's got to be a little bit better, and it kind of is. I would say it is, obviously, and it's, you know, you get to play it on a bigger screen, especially. That's what I like about it. And, you know, to me, this game is not in any way like a downgrade version of the Genesis version. Okay, it is in terms of like, oh, you know, like graphics and like music quality, so to speak. But is it an inferior game, pardon me? No, it really isn't. I enjoy it very much. And honestly, the graphics are pretty good. You get that 3D effect in the opening screen. It's really impressive. They did a damn good job on it, quite frankly. My overall feelings towards Disney over the years have declined. Yeah, and really to me, most cartoons aren't good anymore anyway. But you don't exactly have Garfield and Friends and the classic Mickey Mouse like we used to. Donald Duck, you know, I mean, Goofy. You know, I mean, I miss all the characters. I really do. So this harkened back to some very fun, positive memories going back in the day. Not just in 1990 when the game came out, but we're talking way, you know, like back in the day. Like, depending on how old you are, 84, 83, you know, watching the Mickey Mouse cartoons that would come out on videotape, VHS, eventually later DVD. But we're not here to talk about DVDs at the moment. This is back to the 80s. The 80s, super early 90s in terms of this game. So, again, very impressive scene. The introduction is extremely good quality, especially if you've not played the Genesis version yet. Unfortunately, most people probably played the Genesis version first because it came out earlier, believe it or not. It was the feature presentation of this game, and it will be reviewed by yours truly at some point. Anyhow, I would like to jump into the fan interaction segment immediately. Might as well hop right into that since we're at the ending now of everything. Dang it. Sorry. It's at VGF _podcast, at VGF _podcast. Wanted a thing to load up here quick. I apologize for the delay. Good. I actually got a couple responses. That's cool. Unfortunately, not everybody got to play it. He's just like, really? No. Yes. And I'm going to do a better job about mentioning people that probably would actually be more willing to respond. Some of you, it's like, I know some people that I have been mentioning in the past, they either don't know me or, you know, or what. Yeah, it's mostly because they don't know me really well, so they don't really want to get involved with the show. So got to get some of you familiar. And I feel bad because I know you've been out there. Not all of you are huge video game fans, but maybe you have fond memories of certain games, and not all of them. But anyhow, let's get to Derek Felska right here and right now. Derek Felska, who is a legendary gamer and a absolutely great podcast host, and of course a great writer before that for many years. Crease and Assist, at Crease and Assist, and the Crease Assist podcast. Big friend to the Brave the Wild show, where I talk about the Minnesota Wild. So yes, I do sports podcasts. Just completed State of the Wild 2023 if you happen to be interested in the Minnesota Wild and hockey conversation again. So anyhow, like I do on Brave the Wild, hashtag VGFB, like video game flashback, you know, yep, that's what it is here. For Brave the Wild, it's hashtag BTWMN. That way everything can be organized, especially like the day, if and when the day comes that there's a bunch of comments. The day is going to come eventually that this show becomes more popular. Right now, it's still kind of a tiny little plant, tiny little maple tree or something. Like with 2 leaves on it, you know, trying to reach the sun against a bunch of a bunch of weeds that are in the way. But then the redwoods and the sequoias, and white pines and such that are blocking the way as well. That are, you know, more established podcasts. Anyhow, I have babbled way too much here about nothing, and I apologize. Whoa, I'm going down a weird rabbit hole here. Derek Felska says, unfortunately, I don't have any memories of this game, and to be honest, I can't remember any friends of mine owning a Sega Master System. It was an underrated, undermarketed system here, and that would again be here in the United States. The colors and sound were arguably better than the NES. I agree with that 100%. That's why I made sure to have let's just say, have Sega Master System games put on my NES Mini. It's incredibly fun to play Sega Master System games in, with like the HDMI capability of an NES Mini. So when I realized I could do that, I was so freaking happy. And yes, I did own the game for many years on the and did and do own the game forever. So it's this is not cheating or stealing anything. These are all games I have actual memories of and have played on the real system and have owned the real cartridges. So even though it's like, yeah, the way I'm going about it right now is different. So just mentioning that, sorry. And I was saying, yeah, it's unfortunate you never got a chance to play this one. You are dead on with the Master System. It's got to be as underrated a game console as it can be. Great colors and pretty high quality music as well. Derek Felska responds with, I only have one Sega Master System game, Master of Darkness, which was a PAL game that wasn't very much that was very much inspired by Castlevania. But not sure if you're going to review this one, but the original Phantasy Star is something else. It really was. The one thing I didn't like is the kind of the 3D, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that, but it can get confusing in the caves, the levels. That's one thing I got frustrated with at times, but I'll probably get around to that one at some point at a much later date. Much later. I played more like Phantasy Star 2 and 3 and 4 kind of, and then of course PSO. Yeah, I know, we're not going to review that game on here. We could, but maybe like 20 years from now or something. I'm dead serious. As for Phantasy Star 1, maybe sooner. But that's still probably a year or 2 or 3 away, maybe. So it's definitely not on the horizon. Ryan, Shaw's Sylvania, nice to meet you. He says, Master, yep, yeah, and I'm following him. He's not following back. That hurts. Master of Darkness is so good. Phantasy Star is the best 8-bit RPG. Better than Dragon Warrior? Well, no, I'm kidding. It's a good RPG. I like Dragon Warrior 1 quite a bit. I have more memories of it, but I probably need to do a better job about getting into that one as well. Unfortunately, yeah, a lot of people didn't come around to this game. That's the sucky part. Yeah, Vince Germano says, I've never seen this before, mate, and that sucks. But I understand. I completely understand. Yeah, and I know he's not trying to be mean. No, it's just, it is what it is. If you never got around to it. Sega Master System, and when we talk about PAL versions, that's why I was kind of taking a shot in the dark. So, some of my closest friends are from Australia and New Zealand. Obviously, big they're big friends of Tim Rule's Explosion for over a decade now. Vince Germano, Tanae Brown, Levi Brown. Well, yeah, so I know how the Master System is kind of more of a worldwide system rather than in the U.S. It's really popular in like England, Brazil, and I do believe Australia, but maybe I missed the boat. I'm not sure. Cool. Ryan looks like he's saying one of the best Sega Master System games there is. And if he is saying that about Castle of Illusion, are you ready for something? I agree. It is one of the best Sega Master System games there is. I am extremely thrilled and honored to make this as the first Sega Master System game I ever reviewed on Video Game Flashback, because I have so many fond memories of this game. So many. The replay value is a 5. The overall gameplay is like a 4 because it can get kind of tough at times, switching from one button to the other, but I suppose Super Mario Brothers, you do the same. It's just that you're pouncing. You're not like firing out, of course, you're using separate buttons, so it's a simple concept. Like jumping and firing, it should be different. In the Master System Game Gear version, you press the same button as jumping, which I think actually makes more sense. Switching buttons might actually be a mistake in a lot of ways, even though you'd figure jump and attack should be different. But pouncing is kind of like the other side of jumping. Kind of like when you play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, some of you that were fortunate enough to play that one, which I'm sure a number of you were. Once you get the leap stone, you press the jump button twice. So you jump and then you have that little oomph, that little up. It's kind of like your cape like has wings for a split second, where it flaps one time. It gives you that extra oomph, like you're jumping on air, kind of for a second. It kind of feels more smooth. It kind of goes with the flow better when you're Yeah, pressing the same button for jumping and then using a similar motion. In this case, attacking by pouncing with your back or butt, basically, onto the enemy's head or whatever the heck it is in order to defeat them. I'm really happy, though, that there's been a few responses here. I hope I didn't jump the gun and do the interaction segment too quickly. The feedback segment, that's what this is called. It's not like sports where I'd call it fan interaction. This is the feedback segment. Feedback. That's a better version. And you're more than welcome to leave a audio submission. I'll be very happy. I know Derek left one for certain games like Jaws. See, Combat, I don't think got anything because I was just throwing a game out there, a game review out there to see, see if I could do this at all. It definitely is a crude start to things, but it was okay. But then, yeah, Derek left a number of audio submissions in the past with like DuckTales and such. I think he did for DuckTales, Mega Man for sure, Mega Man, Jaws, just yep. So anybody can leave those. Otherwise, Twitter is completely fine, and the new Facebook page as well. I don't know if that one even has an address yet. That's why it's not loading, or yeah, it's not really gaining in followers. So that one is still kind of like new and green, unfortunately. How that works with Facebook. It takes a little bit for stuff to get established there. Occasionally things take off and sometimes they kind of don't. So we shall see how that goes. Thank you so much, though, for the interaction. Nice to hear from you, Ryan. And Anthony Krenz, looks like he liked something. Yep. So those of you that have retweeted, I really appreciate that as well. Really appreciate it. Derek and Tanae both retweeted the questions and such. So, also something I should probably... Oh, wow. Okay, and Paula followed back. Oh, wow. I didn't see that. That's awesome. He followed back. I didn't think he would, but I suppose he is following a lot of people. But still. Because I retweeted out some of his information that was talked about recently. I guess it was on YouTube. Very interesting, like a remake of Zelda 2. It's not a remake. It's kind of like another version of it, not a remake. Another version of Zelda 2 type of thing, where it's like a little different story, different controls and such. Very similar game, obviously the side scrolling. It's still Zelda 2 style and everything, but like a little different story, a little more interesting and such. And it's a downloadable thing. I have not downloaded it yet officially. I want to get onto that and get the software going for that. It's not too complicated, though, and I'll probably do a game review on it someday. I probably will. So, yeah, retro homebrew type games like that, like retro style homebrew games, which is like a new version of classic games. I love that kind of stuff. It's actually really cool. He's making right now just the excitement for me is off the charts. So few people appreciate this particular game as much as I do. Like, Zelda 2 is a special game, and I was absolutely honored to do a game review on it. But now we're talking Final Fantasy Adventure, or Seiken Densetsu for the Game Boy. It's the same thing. Final Fantasy Adventure is Seiken Densetsu, just like Secret of Mana is Seiken Densetsu 2. He's working on one like that, and when I look at the screenshots, and oh man, I just get so excited. It's really cool. It looks like the main character is a female, which is interesting, but you see a lot of familiar characters from like Final Fantasy Legend games. I'll be doing every one of those. I'll be reviewing Final Fantasy Adventure and just gushing about it. It is a Mount Rushmore Game Boy game, in my opinion. Final Fantasy Adventure, Zelda Link to the Past, Zelda Link's Awakening. Those are absolutely on the Mount Rushmore. It's called Ember of Mana. Oh my God, I just can't freaking wait. It is, I have so much appreciation for that game. And so few people talk about, for Final Fantasy Adventure, so few people talk about that game. So, if and when, well, not if, when I do a review for Final Fantasy Adventure, it is just going to be a pure honor, an absolute honor. And spoiler alert, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Fives all across the board. It's a Hall of Fame game. Hall of Fame, world-class action RPG for the Game Boy. I don't care if it's Game Boy music, Game Boy graphics. You know what? I loved the Game Boy when it was around, and when they could make a game of quality to that level for the Game Boy, it's an incredible job, well done. And quite frankly, Zelda 2 is underrated as well. It's just freaking hard, that's all. So deal with it, dang it. A lot of you are probably better gamers than I am, so what the heck. You got your 9 million points in Pac-Man or something, I don't know. I'm just messing around. But awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you for following back. Just in case, 1 in a million chance. Okay, and Paula is listening. Maybe you can retweet some of my posts when I post out game reviews. 1 in a million chance they're listening. Well, not 1 in a million. 1 in a few thousand, maybe. It'd be an honor. It'd be an honor to kind of get in touch a little bit. I love work like this. Thank you. Thank you for doing this kind of stuff. It is, just thank you. I am, there's one thing about retro games, right? I'm like retro. And I am 99.9% retro. But that 0.1% is games like this, where it's retro style. It's NES or Game Boy, right? Game Boy, whatever the word is, software, whatever for it. But like a new version of a certain game or something. Like it's like made with the same code, graphics code and everything, but it's like a new version of it. I'm totally cool with that. Like imagine, another version of like a Zelda Link's Awakening or something. Freaking awesome. Yeah. I mean, even like Oracle of Ages and Seasons was pretty exciting. I'll probably do reviews on those in a couple of years. I don't know. A couple of years, couple of months. Who knows? Who knows where my heart is going to get. As for the next review, probably going to go super duper simple. I know I've babbled way too much here, and I apologize, but that's how it goes. I'm probably going to go with Millipede. I kept going back and forth. What should I do? I can't decide. Dang it. I'm probably going to go with Millipede. If there's a last second change, so be it. But odds are it's going to be Millipede, and if there was one other one I had my heart set on, I could make that next. It's like I just forget. I get my mind set on this, and then I think about this and that. So got a lot on my plate right now. So that's kind of what's going on. So a little extra conversation here because of that OK and Paula following me. That kind of got me going. And it got me really excited thinking about games like that coming up. Sorry if that was a little long and a little long-winded, but I don't know. I get excited about stuff like that. I love it. With that said, though, please write a positive rating on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, places like that. Thankfully, this is out all over the place on all the different... whoa, the storm is actually getting close. We might actually get rain, which has been like 100 years since we had a significant rain around here. Not quite, but close. But no, please do follow on the Facebook page, the Twitter account, retweet the show releases would really help, especially, and like downloading and listening to it on Spotify really helps. If for some reason you just don't like that app, that's fine, but if you're cool with it and you like it, download on that one. It really helps. But reviews on Apple Podcasts really help as well, and if you like using that instead of Spotify, that's totally fine. Share the show with your friends. Write a positive review on Apple, Spotify, Audible, Stitcher, places like that, the places that allow you to write a review of the show. And again, share it with your friends, like I said 20 times already. With that said, have yourself a wonderful few weeks here. I can't imagine Millipede taking all that long, but even this game shouldn't have taken a while either. Partially wanted to get Dragon Warrior kind of its days in the sun here. Well, it was as the newest game release, so that's kind of how things go there. With that said, thank you so much for listening, and get ready for Millipede next time. And game on.